Good evening and welcome to One Life Left. My name is Steve Curran.
Hello, Steve Curran.
Hi,
I'm Simon Byron. How are you?
I'm all right.
Who's this with us?
I'm Anne Scantlebury.
Whoa! Does she always come with that? Does she always come with a bed?
It's the sound of Anne teleporting.
Yeah. Cutting it fine this evening, Anne, weren't you?
Was I?
Well, a little bit. Steve seemed to think so, didn't he? He was getting all panicky.
It's a little bit frantic.
Arrived after me. Oh, what, in the studio just now? Yeah, I was late.
Yeah. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm okay. I've had a good week.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
It's been enjoyable. I've been looking after my new kittens.
How are they doing?
A little timid, still running away.
What are they
from
called?
me. They are called Fozzie.
Right.
That was the name given to him by the people who we adopted them from.
Right.
And
you don't. That's not part of the deal, though, is it?
No, you're allowed to rename them.
Did you see that study this week, which said that cats do recognise their owners' voices and names, but choose not to acknowledge them? That was in the Independent this week. Isn't that excellent?
That makes sense.
So Fozzie
and Marina.
How's your pet situation, Anne?
Oh, it's really great. Yeah, he's adorable.
Right.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name's Biggins.
Biggins. Why is he called Biggins?
Oh, he's named after Christopher Biggins because he's an older fellow with a big belly.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And how are yours?
Mine, Smudge and Dizzy,
Yeah.
hate us.
Oh, no.
And they go out of their way to show us how much they hate us. Like, they'll sleep outside our bedroom. They'll wait for us to get up just so that they can walk away from us. They patter off, yeah. They are excellent.
You're listening to One Life
Cat Show.
We're a radio show about cats and occasionally about video games. Actually, we're mostly about video games. So we're going to be talking about them for the next hour. We're also going to be playing some chip-tune music, and we have a few features today.
And we've got some, thankfully we've got some guests who can steer us away from the cat talk. We'd like to be joined by John, creative director, and Simon, producer, both from Roll7, who made Olli Olli. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you doing?
Yes, good, thank you.
Thank you ever so much for coming on. We're going to start. We actually, we got a letter, which I'm not going to read during the letters section. I'm going to bring it forward. It's from a friend of the show, Dan Marshall. Keep running, Dan. Who says, "Hello team, I understand you have the Olli Olli boys in the studio this week.
We do.
Yep.
Please give them a little X button, maybe one of those red honking game show buzzers, and make them press it just before they speak every time. And if they forget, they don't get any points. That should teach them. Thanks."
Oh, he was so nice about us on Twitter.
That's a joke. We'll explain what that is later on, shall we?
We will. First, the news.
It's 7:03 on Monday the 3rd of February. I'm Anne Scantlebury and this is the news. Nintendo boss Satoru Iwata has given himself a 50% pay cut in response to the company's less than good financial situation following iffy sales of the Wii U. Iwata previously took a pay cut after the 3DS's poor launch. Speaking to investors this week, Iwata also explained that he has put a small select team of developers to work on apps for smartphone devices, although he was keen to point out that doesn't mean they're releasing Mario. They aren't that skint yet.
Is that 50% of his previous...
Yeah, did it go back up?
Yeah. Yeah, so he's like, I'll bring it down. Oh, also, this is only from February until June. So he's like, don't worry, guys, I'm taking a pay cut till June. Then I'm giving myself a pay rise.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of speculation about what Nintendo's going to do next. Maybe that demonstrates that things will get better in June when they announce their new handheld. Maybe.
What?
What's
it called, Simon?
Don't know, people are calling it Fusion at the moment, and then lots of people wrote about it and said this is rumoured, and then other people wrote about it and said, right, that's outrageous that people are speculating, but apparently it's true.
Okay, so it's called Fusion.
No, I mean it's not actually called Fusion.
It's code
name. It's called Fusion.
Oh, we call it Fusion, okay.
Yeah.
That must imply something. You know, you don't call a thing Fusion out of luck, randomness.
Why did they call the GameCube Dolphin?
because they tested it on dolphins.
Did they? Wow.
Dolphins loved it.
Wow.
It was designed to go underwater. That's why it had a handle.
What was the
so
wing
you
called?
could fish it up the hook,
The wing's called Revolution, wasn't it?
which was a revolution. So fusion.
Right.
It's going to be either a fusion of things.
Or a razor blade.
Razor blade.
Razor blade.
Yeah. Maybe that's what he's doing in June.
I think it's going to be a soldering iron.
Slitting his wrists is what I was thinking. But have you heard anything about the new Nintendo console, Roll 7 Boys?
No.
No. Is that
I mean,
is that a no
That
or
was
is that
tentative.
No, it's a no. I sort of lost track of Nintendo. They sort of...
They're not doing great at the minute.
No.
That's all you need to know.
No.
They're in Japan. Just over there. It's easy to lose track of them. They're way away, aren't they?
They seem to sort of lose touch with games in general, I think.
Well, don't worry, we're here to bring you back on track.
Oh, not me, Nintendo.
The fully funded Bluetooth ZX Spectrum keyboard Kickstarter project has been surrounded with drama after Spectrum game developers took to the page to denounce keyboard maker Elite for failing to pay them for their games. This caused many backers to consider lowering or retracting their Kickstarter pledges. Elite has put out old Spectrum games on iOS and has contracts with the developers. Elite director Steve Wilcox admitted that the company has failed to pay developers, but that it would be sorted within 28 days. Let's hope in 28 days' time this doesn't go all 28 days later.
Hey. Well, this has been exciting, hasn't it?
Did you
for
think it
those
was
of us-
exciting? I thought
Those
it
of
was-
us who love Kickstarter drama.
Well, but the thing is, the people that were talking about it the loudest didn't understand how Kickstarter works, and so that there was never any doubt that project would succeed because,
Well, it had already succeeded at that point.
yeah. So it was our friend Ed Jeff who clarified this for me. But as both successful Kickstarter
I mean, you never had this problem,
entrepreneurs,
though,
well,
did
of course
you?
not, no, because we always pay our royalties.
To wizards.
Yeah, he. If a project is funded within 48 hours of its closing date, it cannot not succeed. So people can adjust their pledges and cancel them, as long as by doing so the total in the pot remains above the target.
But it wasn't just about that, was it? Because actually, it never came close to going under anyway.
Well, it only got 5,000 over, didn't it?
It was, at some point, I think it was something like 5,000 over,
We
and
wouldn't
then
get
it
out
finished...
of bed for that, would we, Steve?
It finished like $2,000 over, so
Did it? Okay.
they did
Yeah.
decrease, but they didn't cross that line, or
Yeah.
it didn't come close to crossing that line anyway. But what it didn't do is have that traditional Kickstarter spike at the end,
never
where everyone's
euphoria of
like,
success.
hey, get on board because this is going to get made and you all want a really bad rubber keyboard. I mean, that's the weird thing about it, is the Spectrum keyboard is famously bad.
Yeah.
And people want it for nostalgia purposes, but I noticed a lot of the fuss on the Kickstarter comments was, can I use this to write emails? Is it, a standard Bluetooth? Why would you want to? It's inconvenient way of typing.
Yeah, I mean, it's handy if you want to fill a screen with Simon Byron's skill in different colours and sounds. But apart from that, it was a strange end to a Kickstarter campaign. I like the idea of it. I don't want one.
I saw a picture of it on the page and I thought, oh, that looks good. And then I saw the caption below that said, this is not the actual thing, it's just a Spectrum next to a laptop. Oh, right. Okay.
Excellent. Yeah. No. So yeah, we'll have to watch that, because Steve Wilcox did respond, didn't he, on
Yeah.
Kickstarter, and said that and I sort of understood a little bit of that. I mean, I don't run a software company like he does, but he just said, "Oh, I haven't done some of the paperwork." Do you remember the time we ran a company? Very briefly. That was
really
awful.
hard, wasn't
I
it?
almost went to prison for the VAT man. No, I didn't like. So running a company is hard. So yeah, it's difficult to know the ins and outs, but hopefully it will be
I
resolved.
think it's easy on the internet to assume the worst of intentions when, sometimes things go wrong for things that are out of your sight line, right? So let's assume he's a very good person.
Yep.
This is all a misunderstanding, and we will all expect delivery of fake Spectrum soon.
Sony is to release a new, super, slimmer, lighter PlayStation Vita model in the UK. The snappily named PCH2000 model is due to launch on the 7th of February for around £180. Stats fans, get ready. It's going to be 41 grams lighter and 3mm thinner than the original, with a slightly worse screen and some curvy edges. Let's hope this model is more Seahawks and less Broncos. Go Superbowl! Hey Steve, did you watch Superbowl last night?
I did, Anne.
Did you see who won?
It's a Seattle one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Why are you so excited about this?
I don't really know. I don't care.
You threw yourself into it a bit,
Really
though,
got
didn't you,
into
on
it
Twitter?
last night, yeah.
Why did you pick the Seahawks?
So I was talking to Manvir over Twitter, and I just said, who should I support? And he said, well, what do you like in sport? And I said, I don't like it. Who should I support? And he said, you should support Seattle Seahawks because their fans are harder drinkers.
There we go.
Working,
Fair enough.
didn't it?
Okay, so how does this tie into the story?
Doesn't.
Great.
Doesn't. They're releasing a new Vita, smaller.
And it's lighter.
Lighter.
By 41 grams.
Yeah, that's loads, isn't it?
Is it loads? Can you put it in real terms for me?
Hang on. So here's a bag of Haribo.
If you were to buy a gram of those that hard drugs that you like, how many of those lighter would it be?
Well, if it was
40.
a gram, it'd be 41 lighter.
Right, I was just trying to put it into a sort of units
so
of measurement you understand.
A bag of Haribo is 220 grams. So, like, some of that.
Did
A
you
fistful of Haribo's
Yeah.
lighter.
roll 7 boys? You're obviously a Vita expert. So has the weight of the original piece of kit held you back? Made your arms ache?
Don't think so. No.
I mean, you are both pretty buff, so I can't see it being a problem. But
Especially John.
Just to clarify, I am the same width as the microphone stand in reality.
and that's not the slim version of the microphone stand, is it? And what about the screen?
Not OLED.
It's not
LED
OLED,
now.
is it? It's LED. In
Is
fact,
that
it's worse.
better?
No, it's worse.
Worse.
It's worse.
Steve,
Worse.
worse.
Why is it worse? What's the O stand for?
Optimum.
Awesome.
Yeah. Optimus.
Is
Optimus.
Optimus.
Is it? Let's say it is. Yeah.
Optimal.
Guy Cocker reviewed it for. Friend of the show, Guy Cocker. One Life
GC.
Left's
One Life Left's
Guy
GC.
Cocker
OL's GC.
reviewed it and said the screen's definitely worse, but he prefers it.
Interesting. Sony will review it too if you send us
one.
it in triplicate.
Yeah, it's the rumours are they ran out of the screens or something has happened. so essentially, essentially the UK supply of the Vita has been depleted, and that's why they've brought it out because they're only making these in Japan or something like that. That's what
Would
I
have been a
heard.
bad day at the office, wouldn't it?
Oh,
So we're just putting
guys.
together. Who's got the control sticks? I am.
Who's director of screens? You had one job.
I'm going to take a pay cut. Google has made some basic mini-games for Google Glass to inspire developers to make games for the device. Some of the games are clearly designed to embarrass the wearer. They include Balance, where you have to keep virtual shapes stacked on your head, Shape Splitter, where you slice stuff by waving your hand in front of the camera, and Tennis, where you use your actual head as a racket. One Life Left is developing a Tinder-style winking app where it's 1 wink for yes, 2 for no, and 3 for I really do have something in my eye.
You could use each eye. You got 2 eyes. Left wink, right wink.
Okay,
Left swipe, right swipe. What happens if you blink though?
that means
Wouldn't you be doing the opposite of blinking? You'd be like, doing.
Yeah, if you can make your eyes actually hit the glass,
Yeah.
then...
I still cannot believe that Google Glass is not a joke. I still cannot believe this is an actual thing. It is. I mean, it is, isn't it? Apparently, people are. Someone was thrown out of a cinema recently for wearing one, and
So a woman got done for driving while wearing one. She was like, "You can't tell if I had it on. You don't know if I had it on. You can't tell if I had it on. You had it. Why would you wear it if you didn't have it on?"
that's a good point.
Also, a
You
thing
should be a lawyer,
I would like to know:
prosecutor.
with Google Glass, can you get prescription Google Glass? So if you
It doesn't
actually wear
exist.
glasses, can you just get your actual glasses?
I think it's just the thing that clips on this, isn't
Oh,
it?
is
I
it?
mean, I don't know,
No,
because it doesn't exist.
Haven't they just done new frames? That was like the most requested feature, was
Have
like
they?
new frames for it.
So people don't know that you're wearing them.
Right, but
they
you
still
still
know
got
you're
that
wearing
thing,
them
because you have
because
stuff
you're in your
projected onto your eyeball.
Isn't that a bit of a hipster thing to do? Just wear frames.
Yes.
That's Simon Parkin.
That's the
does that,
hipster
doesn't
equivalent
it?
of Google Glass, just frames. It's not even a screen.
Well, exactly, or just normal glasses. That's the hipster.
Do you think is this where you're going with this, Simon? That it's
What?
kind of an Emperor's New Clothes thing, that everyone gets given them and they're so excited, but they think they can't work them.
Yes,
So like,
right.
oh yes, it's very good. I used it to navigate my way home.
Yeah.
Got a bit,
Nothing's on
got a
there.
bit lost.
Nothing's on there.
No, I'm playing a game. I'm playing a game. That's why my head's going backwards and forwards. No, you're not.
Well, we will see it next month, won't we? GDC.
For
It's
sure.
bound to be all over GDC.
Well, we'll
isn't it?
pretend to have seen it. Oh yeah, it's very
Simon,
good.
Let's pretend.
Let's
Steve, you've got
pretend-
glasses, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, let's.
Should we just click things?
Has anyone got a little Bluetooth thing we can put on there? And finally, after the big love-in and exchange of encouraging messages during the launch of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, Sony and Microsoft are back to hating on each other. Microsoft is advertising a trade-in deal calling for people to ditch their PS3 for a $100 credit towards the purchase of an Xbox One. Sadly, the show of rivalry is limited to the US, Canada and Puerto Rico, so the rest of the world can't benefit from this dig. We hope this escalates to the point where Sony are giving away free PS4s to anybody willing to put their Xbox One in a guillotine and mount its remains on a spike in the Tower of London.
I mean, you saw Sony's response to this, right?
It wasn't Sony's response.
Wasn't it?
No, it was mocked up from NeoGAF, sadly.
Okay.
Because it was very good.
It was such an elegant response that it was almost as if Microsoft's original campaign had been designed to set that up.
So just to fill Anne in, who does... Do you read NeoGAF? Your
No,
scanters there with a Z
that,
on you?
but I knew that was not from Sony, so I didn't include it in the news.
Right. The reply was supposedly, or save yourself $100 and buy a PlayStation 4 instead of an Xbox One.
Which is simple.
That's great. Yeah, it seemed a bit spiteful, didn't it? I mean, Microsoft need to be a little bit careful, don't they, these days? Because if they're not encouraging you to, what was the phrasing? Was it trash your
ditch it?
Ditch your PlayStation 3.
But couldn't you ditch your 360 as well? It was both of them.
I think it just said PS3.
Was it?
I mean, you can. You could. Microsoft said but you can also trade in your Xbox 360. But it did not say that.
Right.
It didn't say it.
Right.
That's not what you're doing the advert for, is it? No.
Yeah, and then they've also pulled out that YouTube endorsement thing, haven't they? Did we talk about this last week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, they are being bad again, aren't they?
Bad old Microsoft.
But it's the way to publicity, isn't it, Simon? So
I'm certainly going to go and buy an Xbox One immediately after this.
You behave badly, you get the attention.
Do you think so?
Well, people like a little bit of edginess, and Microsoft are considered anti-edgy, aren't they?
But to people like nastiness, this sort of is a bit... people like it when people are cheeky, when there's a little kind of like, oh, go on, just come...
That's clearly what they're targeting here.
But it seemed a little bit more, I don't know, a little undercurrent of nastiness there.
Interesting. Maybe, the reason I'm thinking is maybe we could stand as a radio show to do some of that kind of publicity ourselves. Trade in your podcasts for a discount on One Life Left.
Yeah, delete Guy Cocker.
We're not saying you should.
It's up to you, isn't it?
You could.
Yeah.
Could do. You could delete other podcasts, but in this advert...
That's the one we're interested in.
That's it. Is that it, Anne?
That's it.
Thanks.
One Life Left video game news with Anne Scantleberry.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're a video game radio show on the best radio station in the world, and we're still trying to work out how to get us and this station more listeners. Started off talking about cats, which has done well for the internet, hasn't it?
Yeah, we are, stats are in. We're up on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Plus
good.
5 points.
Excellent.
Hopefully we'll be up on FM as well, because it's important that we distinguish from the other podcasts.
Exactly.
We're an FM radio show. So, this is... What is this? This is Mr. Beep and Hypervelocity Stars. It's from chipmusic.org. We'll be playing some more music later on in the show.
But first, we didn't just bring them in to laugh at our news jokes. You're here for a purpose, aren't you, John and Simon?
Yes.
Steve, you need to turn the microphones up. You did ask me to remind you.
Sorry, Mike 5.
Yes.
Got 2 guests.
Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You're the guys. So how many of you are at Roll 7?
I think we've actually hit the magic 7 now.
Have you? Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're gonna.
You can't employ anyone else.
Yeah, no matter what
That's
happens, that's it now.
However big you get, you're just going to have to work harder.
Yeah.
So you're behind Olli Olli, and you mentioned that you did a game before that. Was it something about escape?
Gets to the exit.
Get to the exit.
Yeah, it bombed
Did
massively.
it?
Yeah.
But Olli Olli is doing very well, isn't it?
Apparently.
Yeah, for the minute. Thank you, everyone.
We should explain what it is. It's a side-scrolling endless skater. Would that be a way of describing it?
Yes. We'll sort of throw a whole bunch of other games to describe it. I guess it's Tony Hawk's meets Cannonbolt and Super Meat Boy.
That sounds much better than how I just.
I'm pretty sure that's how I described it last week on the show.
Yeah, I totally stole it.
Okay, stick that on your box. So yeah, it's available exclusively on the Vita. Yeah, and so first Sony game then, was it?
Yeah, it was our first foray.
Okay, so how did that go?
It was good. They were amazing.
Why did you? So was it them that encouraged you to put it on Vita first, or was that a choice that you guys made?
I think we took a sort of prototype to them back in, where are we, John?
August 2012.
Yeah. And I think they had a look at the prototype and said, "This looks cool." It was a Shahid,
Right.
and he said, "Yeah, this looks cool."
Funnily enough, they looked at a lot of other prototypes we showed them first,
And they said,
and they didn't look cool.
"Those are crap. Don't do anything with those." And yeah, so they said, "How about putting it on Vita?" And we sort of went back to our studio and had a little look at the Vita and said, "Oh, hang on, this is cool." And the control sort of scheme would work really well for the game.
Yeah, having sticks made all the difference.
Right.
I think.
So what formats could it have been on?
The original prototype was on iOS.
Okay.
So it's kind of like swiping and tapping the screen. And then when we thought about sticks, it was like, we could do so many more tricks and give you so much more control.
Right. So it was a game that it was one of those games. Although it hasn't turned out to be one of those games, that I saw a lot of people talking about all of a sudden. So everyone was saying how this was the best game. I saw the Pocket Gamer chaps were saying Game of the Year, and this was before it came out, something like that. And I thought, I bet this is going to be one. Sorry, I should explain because you haven't listened to the show before. But usually when that happens, it happens with games that I end up hating. So I was a bit concerned. But Steve tells me that I haven't had the chance to play it myself yet. But Steve has been banging on about it as well. So what is it about it that you think has given it such good word of mouth?
Oh, word of mouth. I think we really have to give credit to the gentleman that's not actually here tonight due to being rather ill.
Right.
Tom, who kind of went around and jammed a Vita into everyone's face that he could possibly find in the games press and the games industry and go, please play our game, check this out.
I think it sits in a really, really interesting space. The way you sort of compared it to Cannonbolt and Super Meat Boy just then. Super Meat Boy is obviously a super hardcore game, and Cannonbolt appeals to the hardcore, but is also effectively an endless runner, the first endless runner, and kind of the most casual game there is. It's just tapping to jump over. So Olli Olli sits exactly in that sweet spot where you can look at it and it's it's a hardcore skating game, and it's simple interactions though that appeal to everyone. You get it very, very simply. And also there hasn't been a good skating game for ages, since sort of Tony Hawk's was mined dry. So I think it's fallen at the right time as well.
So how did you? So you were going to do it on iOS. So how did it change? The first thing is sticks make more stunts, or could it have turned into a different game?
Oh, interesting. I think it did become a different game, to be honest. Actually, when we did the iOS version, it was still an infinite runner.
Right.
Or at least due to bad programming, it wasn't infinite. It ran out of memory and crashed after a set amount of time.
Right.
But yeah, then when we actually started building it, we kind of realised that with all the combo system and the tricks, it made more sense for it to be these levels that you could kind of learn and get your head around and work out the best line and the best possible tricks you could do across that level, rather than it being this thing that just threw random stuff at you and you tried to react.
Right. Are you any good at it, Steve?
I'm okay at it. I'm it's one of those games that compels you to keep playing and to get all of the stars. So there are not secret. There are missions on each level, 5 missions on each level, and it's kind of a war of attrition. If you don't get it the first time, then you will keep playing it until you do. So I have a lot of stars, but I've also sunk an awful lot of time into the game. So I have no idea whether I'm good at it or just persistent. It is quite interesting how the sort of dynamic shifts from a points attack game, which I find really compelling, and also sometimes from that to a puzzle game where you're just trying to work out how to navigate either to the end of the level or to complete the task that it's offering you, to pick up this star or to not do any grinds. I think that's really, really clever use of the environments.
There's been a lot of chat on Twitter recently about how evil free-to-play is. Did you ever think of making this one? Like, if you're going to go on iOS, was it?
Yeah, I think it's a really tough one for us because essentially with it, you've got a really captive audience, but if you go onto mobile, really the expectation on Android is it's better be free.
Right.
And like if you're looking to do anything in somewhere like China or like that, they expect it to be free. So like for us to even consider making sort of a version of this for mobile, it would have to be totally re-engineered, I think.
Right.
But
I think there's also that element of, as you said, there's quite a balance of frustration against just wanting to beat the thing, whereas on mobile, once I get frustrated, I tend to just delete it.
Right, yeah.
Which maybe doesn't quite fit the dynamic of how it works.
It's hard to see how a game as simple as this, where sort of the appeal is the simplicity, would fit into the free-to-play model beyond saying, okay, you can play the first 10 levels and collect, grind to get energy, and then you'll unlock more levels. But that sort of free-to-play model is kind of more demo and then buy extra level packs.
Right.
There are more evil ways of doing it. I guess I hinted at them with the energy there, but it's. I think everyone who enjoys Olli Olli is probably glad that you went the route that you did.
Yeah. So it's out and it's doing well. So what does that mean for the studio now? What are you currently working on?
we're currently working on actually being able to eat now, which is really nice. Yeah. No, we can't really talk about sort of the current projects that we're working on.
Yeah, you can. You're on the radio.
But you are working on something.
We are working on something.
What colour is it?
It's multicoloured. It's neon colours currently. Yeah,
neon palette.
Neon palette.
Any dominant shade in the neon palette?
There's quite a lot of pink in there.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So you mentioned about being able to eat. Was that because you were worried about the success of this, so you didn't have any money coming in? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
so
we had
was it a risk?
Yeah, it was a big risk for us. We basically used to run a digital agency, and we were running it since 2008. And we used to make games for other people. We did marketing campaigns for the Home Office and stuff like that. And then
that's a tough job.
It was. And then we sort of thought, do you know what? We really like making games, so let's just do that. So we shut the agency down and focused 100% on this game. And if this failed, then we were out on our. Well, yeah,
posterior
streets. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Are we likely to see it on any other formats?
Hopefully. Yes, we're just working that out.
Excellent. Good stuff. Well, thanks for coming in. You're going to stick around. What are we doing now, Steve?
Local news.
Hello, I'm Sega Badawi and welcome to One Life Left Local News. Protests are still taking place regarding the decision to ban PlayStation athletes from the Mario and Sonic at the Winter Olympics Games. The Games are due to take place in the Russian city of Sochi. A representative for Sochi, the T-shaped block from Tetris, said that whilst they had nothing against athletes of the PlayStation persuasion, they felt that such behaviour should be kept hidden from children. Other countries have reacted angrily to the ban, with America designing their ski helmets to look like the Wipeout craft, Germany refusing to shave in order to resemble Crash Bandicoot, and some French bobsleighers have chopped off a finger, apparently to be like that bloke from Heavy Rain, but it could be down to some drunken hijinks. One act who was originally booked to play at the closing event, the hip-hop star Parappa the Rapper, has already pulled out, and more are likely to follow. Thanks, and back to your usual programming.
One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. This is Monomania and Blue. It's one of my favourite chip tunes for ages. Love them all, but this is excellent.
It's nice. I like the way it sort of stopped and then you came in. You've been practicing that at home all day.
We're a professional radio show, Simon.
So it's a natural skill that you've got there.
Instinct.
Right. One thing we did forget to do was explain the push X stuff.
That's true. We should do that now. So, why is Dan Marshall insistent on making you press a button before you talk?
Spikes up.
Hello. So, in Olli Olli, every time you're about to hit the floor, you have to press the X button or you lose all of your points.
Wow.
So you can build up a massive combo, and then when you touch the ground, if you press X at the wrong time, you end up getting about 3 points.
That's pretty
so
mean.
Sammy.
Yeah, it's a risk-reward thing. It feels really good when you get it right, and then the rest of the time it makes you want to throw the veto.
The first 20 minutes or so, perhaps longer, of Olli Olli is spent forgetting to press X. Every time because you're learning other skills and they tend to push out the basic ones out of your head. So you remember to press R1 to spin or press up to grind or whatever. And this time you forget to press X again and again and again.
But Dan Marshall's furious about that. What did you say? You said you'd only respond to that question if what?
If he follows me back on Twitter, Dan.
Which I thought that was very brave of you to bring that up, because when we were sat upstairs, it transpires that we're all sat around, and then you went, "Oh, you're Anne Scantlebury, Anne," rather than us, and I was like, "You were like, yeah," and I follow you on Twitter, and then you didn't have that same reaction with Steve and I.
I know.
Right, so we're not going to let you out of here until you start following us on Twitter.
You can't make Twitter following a hostage situation.
I think you
Simon.
can. You can.
Let's do
It's a
that
unique
from now.
new scenario.
Exactly. Yeah.
Letters.
Email, messages, and forward BCC's One Life letters.
What, has he started following you? Has he?
No, I just really likes that jingle. Really tickled me.
Dear respected One Lives and Super Guest Special.
Wow.
Curious
Good.
English. Greetings, it says in all caps. Permit me to inform you of my desire of going into business relationship with you. I heard that you were interested in obtaining rights to Chucky Egg, Glorious 10-Bits video games 80s 90s. I'm Wumi Abdul, the only daughter of the late Mr. and Mrs. George Chucky. My father was inspiration of Egg Game and owned all rights and loyalties. I have make new Chucky Egg, Glorious Memory George. But we have no internet in Nigeria and cannot post to interested publisher Mighty Electronic Arts of Canada, USA. I will give you 50% rights to Chucky name, but I must get floppy disk of code to you. Please send £500 for wheel greasings via Western Union to facilitate long, happy partnership. Your very good long listener, Wumi Abdul.
Wow, thanks,
Interesting.
Wumi. Are we going to do
Wumi.
that?
I guess we'll look into it. Maybe we should kickstart raising that £500 so we can make our very own Chucky Egg game.
Ben Hall writes, no subject. He says, hello team, and possibly plus a super special guest. Whilst listening to last week's show, I found out that my best friend in the world used to go to school with Guy Cocker in Filey. This put me in a quandary. You know how there's that old dilemma of if you could kill Hitler when he was an innocent child, would you do it? Well, my friend is now living... but that's... my friend is now living that, but with much more at stake. Just imagine if I went back in time and told my friend that if they just pushed Guy off the cliff face above the mini golf course on a school outing, then it could mean that One Life Left won the 2013 Games Media Award. What would you do? I suppose I already know what Anne's response would be, as she has formed for pushing brackets and killing. But what about the rest of the team? Cheerio, Ben. I thought Guy was excellent last week.
I thought he was brilliant.
And if we'd pushed him off, we wouldn't have had him on last week.
But outside of that, the moral question still remains, and I think what you have to say is, if you were to push Guy Cocker at the mini golf course, even as an innocent child,
right,
someone would only grow up to take Guy Cocker's place.
Of course.
And they could be worse.
Or equally as bad. So I think the answer is we would...
Stick with what you know.
Yeah, stick with...
and don't push children off cliffs.
That's our advice to you, but what you choose to do, that's your own business.
Entirely up to you. Dear team and special guest, Anne, did you get a perm? I want one too.
This was a very specific letter. Did you?
No, I didn't. You can tell I didn't. I did dye my hair red though, so maybe do that. Also, please can any of you recommend somewhere similar to the Trocadero that isn't as sad and lonely as the Trocadero? I tried to take my partner there as a lovely date, but the escalators weren't even on. With love, Catty. Yeah, what's that place that we went to before? The Namco
Arcade on the South Bank. Is that still
It is still going. Yeah, it's still going, still good.
Functional?
Recommend that.
Trocadero is sad though, isn't it?
We'll go to Loading Bar just up the road.
Loading bar's
good too.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can go and get
Take us on a date.
perms together.
Oh, that would be lovely.
John.
Dear team and special guest. Oh, sorry, this is from John Maynard. Dear team and special guest, assuming you haven't done this to death during Anne's news section, I've come up with a great idea for a letter for your show. I'll email it to you next week, or you can pay £5 to unlock the idea now. What do you think? Love the show.
Very good. How do we get the money to him? Actually, if we did do that now, he would have to get it to us now, wouldn't he?
Could be a stretch goal on the Kickstarter.
Interesting.
Okay,
Yeah. Good idea. We'll add it to our Kickstarter.
Good. That's added to there's fuel for the free-to-play fire.
Any more letters?
No, that's it.
That's it. We had good letters responses.
We did, thanks very much. And you all behaved yourself on Twitter. Somebody said, I was going to post a picture of a lettuce,
But they
because
did.
it sounds a bit like letter. And then they didn't, and I was very proud of them.
Well done.
And I forgot the name of the guy that grasped me up to the Gone Home guys, because he was crying about that, and I was like, well, I'm going to name you this time. I will do.
He was delighted to have been referenced as the person who told tales.
New Twitter said I might want to follow Fulbright. I thought, no, I do not. Maybe Twitter listens.
You know, this week, so I should turn off the letters for this bit. This week we've been sorting out our GDC spreadsheets.
Yeah, we have.
And our GDC spreadsheet contains all the names of all the people who we want to talk to at GDC. We're going to be doing 5 shows from over there. Did you see Steve Gaynor's name is on there?
I did see that, yeah. I'd like to get him and Jonathan Blow on the same show.
Okay.
And one other person whose name I'll tell you after the show.
Oh.
But you might be able to guess who that could be.
If you have any guesses at who Simon's secret nemesis is, please email
team@onelifeleft.com.
Science officer update. After over 3 years floating in deep space, this human specimen was eventually recovered from a damaged escape capsule. The human male has since returned to active duty. The captain has summoned him urgently.
Science officer's audio log. So I get called in for a special meeting, and the captain tells me that things have changed a little since I was last in circulation. In order to hit his crew readiness benchmarks, I gotta undergo compulsory media training. Media training? When am I ever gonna talk to the media? We're about 1,000 parsecs from the nearest civilian space hub, and besides, when a stranger sticks a mic in my face, my first instinct is to flip a finger, not run my mouth off. No, says the captain. Under no circumstances will you ever be speaking to the media. We just need to update your format training. When it comes to audio logs, you're my guy, the best. That's what he said. I ain't gilding the lily or blowing my own ringtone. But, he added, there was a lot of format diversification while you were out there, floating amongst the ineffable. So the captain laid it out for me. Hey, I know audio logs, but now we got data crystals, babble chips, vid swipes, yellograms, knowledge chimes, phonic crew drivers, amygdala ding-dongs, ear rigs, brain slaps, squawk boxes, download dumps, a neural fingering, and some sort of granular storage medium that you snort in order to taste the data. I know, it's a lot to take in, says the captain. No problemo, I say. When do we start? Science officer, out.
Legacy and Raid. It's another piece of chiptune music. Anne.
Hiya.
What are you doing?
I was just clicking a pen against my hand.
You did seem to have zoned out.
Sorry.
For a moment.
Just for a second. I'm back.
Okay, back in the room.
Hi.
Brain games.
Yeah, was it the phrase neural fingering that
That was it. That's all I was thinking of. Imagine.
What does it even mean?
I don't know, but it doesn't sound okay.
We had some guests who could talk about this sort of thing. Wait a minute.
Hold on.
We're not neural. Is there such a thing as neural fingering?
Maybe.
Well,
we used to work with some brain. Well, what are they called? Electroencephalogram technology that could read brainwaves and let you control a computer with them.
Literally not the first time I've heard that word today.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was almost about to say that's the first time I've heard that word. Right? Wow.
Yeah.
What have you been doing?
Books.
Yeah, so you casually dropped, whilst we were listening to the previous tune, that you've made games that are controlled by your mind.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can finger your frontal lobes.
You back off, will you? Everybody just met you. So, surely that's crackpot. You actually made games that you could that were controlled by thought alone.
Yeah, we still get very, very small royalty checks from a company in San Jose.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what? What can you do with your? How does this? How does this work?
Essentially, it reads alpha, beta, gamma, delta brainwaves.
Essentially, what we're saying is we don't actually know how it works.
No, I want to hear this.
And it takes them and it goes through a magical super algorithm that we don't know how it works. That is NeuroSky's IP, and we take that and we make games with it. So either you concentrate loads, or you relax loads, or you do a mixture of the both, and no one knows how to do any of them, and it controls elements of a game.
So I saw something like this a few years ago, which was a game of Pong or air hockey, like you had to sort of relax. If you relaxed, then you pushed the puck towards them.
Yeah.
But obviously that would stress you out maybe because you think you were about to win and then it would come back towards you.
Right. Did you play it?
I didn't know.
Okay. But actually, so what sort of games did you make?
We made, I think we made a game called Airhead, which was featured on the Gadget Show.
Wait.
How apt.
Is the Gadget Show Jason Bradbury?
Yeah.
Sorry, can't mention that.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Sorry, he's on the list.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, basically, he said that he was going to be a guest on our show and then didn't come on. I mean, yeah, so...
Doesn't take lots to get on our list.
Exactly.
For example, if you have not heard of the games that Simon and I have been working on, Carrier Cards or Greedy Wizards, you might find, you might just see Simon writing something down.
Yeah.
We're off the list now, aren't we?
You are off the list currently.
Off the list because you're on the show.
Exactly.
As soon as we leave.
So sorry. We shouldn't get bogged down our own in jokes, although we have made a radio career out of it. What did you do in these games?
So, John, you did it. You made them.
Okay. Well, so I guess the easiest one, we made one called Invaders Reloaded, which was basically Space Invaders, except the more you concentrated, the more awesome lasers your ship fired at all the baddies. And if you didn't
just doing that.
Yeah,
kinda.
So was it so you would have those electrode things putty to your head? Is that?
No. All part of their thing was that it was dry sensors, so you didn't have to do all this saline solution and gaffer tape.
Non-invasive dry biosensors.
That's the one. There we go.
I'm just slipping these onto you now. So before I put the invasive body sensors
I'd like to
inside you.
I'd like to do a radio experiment with all our listeners right now. So what I want people to do right now is concentrate. Just concentrate. Are you knitting your eyebrows and squinting a little? Because if so, I think there's an easy way we could detect this.
Yeah. Is Guy Cocker still standing up?
Right. Okay, we've learned about brain games and neural fingering.
Right. So why did you stop doing that?
Because we made about £3.50 out of it.
Right.
Oh. There's not a lot of money in brains, is there?
It wasn't just that. It was when you were like, well, how do you concentrate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mainly the problem.
What would your advice be then if you're told to concentrate?
Squint.
What do you think?
Squint your eyes.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, but a brain sensor can't look at my face, can it, thankfully? So it wouldn't know whether I was squinting or not.
But, our Google Glass app
Right.
If we just put a camera looking inwards that detected whether you were squinting or not,
What
we
I think
could
about.
tie that.
So what would you think about when you're told to concentrate?
I'd just stare blankly at the screen and it would work. Well, to be honest, like it worked very differently.
That sounds like the opposite of concentration. That does.
Yeah.
Hence the demise.
Yeah.
Wow. Keen to play these.
Reviews. Who has played a video game?
I have.
Go on then, Simon.
This week I've been playing Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Okay.
Didn't expect to hear that, Anne, did you?
No.
Actually, maybe you did.
I did, because I've been following you on
Well,
Twitter.
yeah, maybe our guests won't have
so,
heard about
I won't know about
this
this.
is news to you. Splinter Cell Blacklist sees Sam Fisher, being voiced by someone who's not Michael Ironside, reprise his role as the world's coolest man. It's made by Ubisoft Toronto, and I think Ubisoft are really getting into a rhythm with their games. They're highly polished. They are broadening what you do. Splinter Cell's come a long way from the original idea, and it's like the coolest episode of the coolest TV show you've ever seen. It starts off with a shadowy organisation attacking an American air base, and Sam Fisher and his colleague just get out, and then it turns into, you know how in XCOM, Enemy Unknown or Enemy Within, you get a base and then you travel around the world. Well, in this you get to do that, but instead of picking a location and then landing and going through a series of turn-based moves, this one you stab men and you can kill dogs, and there are explosions, and it's brilliant. And it's just really so well put together. The soundtrack is just keeps things moving. Like I say, I've never wanted to be a man as much as I wanted to be Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Not even Batman.
Well, I think I might like him more than Batman and Solid Snake. What? Not together, obviously, because that still remains a dream. But it's brilliant. Until you try and play it offline.
Oh.
Yeah, so I spent 7 hours playing it yesterday, 7 hours or so. Really, really enjoying it. And I didn't sleep well last night. I genuinely think it was because I was playing this right up until bedtime, and I had to leave it where I've got 10 minutes to stop the poison being put in the water pumps, right? I know. And they've got the big guards there. You have to shoot the hats off them first and stuff. But I know, right? So I was looking forward to playing it on the train on the way in, and loaded it up. And because it's fully immersive and anything, it doesn't have any options at the start of the game. It just starts, unless you go back into. So the first time you load, it just starts, and then so I load it up, and then it just started, and I was like, hang on a minute, what about the poison in the water pumps? And then that's PC gaming for you. So I finally worked out what was going on. It's a known issue. Ubisoft support have got back to me and said it's a known issue. Turns out it's been known since the game came out. And I don't think there's going to be much going to be able to do it. So it's a brilliant game when you've got internet connection. But
I don't understand the issue. So it's just starting the game again when you load.
So basically, what happens when you're offline, when you play, that wonderful piece of software management is offline. It does not have access to your save game folder, so it cannot read your save game folder. So it starts again.
I see.
So you cannot continue.
That sucks.
Does suck. I paid £10.19 in Steam sale for that. Can't play it.
Did you sign up for the Uplay stuff in Assassin's Creed?
No, I didn't.
Because
I kept that down. It bugs you twice to log in, doesn't it?
All the time.
Twice.
And I definitely didn't.
And it tricks you as well, because one of them is, do you want to? Are you sure you don't want to? Are you sure you do not want to not load this up? Cancel or okay? I don't know which one's going to make me go into Uplay until everybody. Yeah, so I mean, an amazing game, but Ubisoft support emailed back and said sorry for any inconvenience. Well, that inconvenience amounts to me not being able to play the game that I paid for. So 7 out of 10 for that issue.
That was a joke Simon did on Twitter earlier. You guys might not know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, maybe you could you could curate my jokes down and retweet them for John to see.
I mean, I could, yeah.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that.
Anne.
Hi. This is going to be a short one. I've been playing Joe Danger Infinite? Or is it Infinity?
Yeah,
that one. So, it's really brilliant because it's like Joe Danger Touch.
Right.
It's really great. I reviewed that.
What did you give it?
Gave it 7 out of 10.
Okay, yeah.
I said I thought that it was really good. The games are really fun. On this one, it's sort of like slightly steeper learning curve. get through stuff quite quickly. It's a super fun game, isn't it? But yeah, it's
Was there some
kind of
controversy
similar.
about it?
Was there?
Did you pay for it, or is it free?
I paid for it.
Did that launch and then go free very quickly?
Not sure.
No, okay.
Did it?
Apologies.
Either way,
Let's see.
there should be no controversy about Hello Games.
No, I completely
And
get the
everyone
side.
should buy all of their games
Okay,
because they are underwater.
Exactly.
That's why I bought it, because I was like, gonna support them. I'll
Yeah.
buy their game. I really liked the last one. It is fairly similar, but I really enjoyed the last one, so I've been really enjoying this one as well. 7 out of 10. There you
John.
go.
It's going to have to be Nidhogg by Messhoff, which is...
Did you know I was talking earlier about one of those games? I suspect this may be one of those games as well.
Well,
Do you like it?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Is
like a fencing
Is it better
simulator.
or worse than Proteus?
I'm going to get in trouble for this, but it is actually a game.
Yes! Right, maybe I will like it then. Okay.
It's 2-player only. You have to stab people, basically.
It has a single player mode, doesn't it? You can train, is that right?
It does, but it just doesn't feel quite as fun and satisfying as sort of getting one up on somebody else, which is also the worst thing about it, because I played it for about 2 hours last night against someone who just consistently beat me the entire time, which has sort of ruined it for me a little bit. But watching Simon and someone else play it the other night actually filled my soul with joy at how terrible they were, at how much fun they were having. And so obviously, based on the letdown of being massively defeated and being terrible, but also how much fun it is, I'm probably going to score it 7 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Thank you. I'm going to write that down for our book of scores. Simon.
I'm still playing Resogun. I love it.
Me too.
I love it. I get to explode stuff in a really exciting world of circular nature, and yeah,
Voxel graphics, just exciting.
Yeah, just the explosions are great, and the sound.
Do you save the humans?
Do you know what? When I
Save the last
started playing it, I spent an hour trying to work out with friends how on earth to save the humans, and then I went online and I worked out how to do it, and I do save them now. Yes,
I
feel
don't.
good. You don't.
And
You don't
doesn't-
have to.
You do. If you want to get all the power ups, you should.
Yeah, you can save some of them. Sure, save some of them. But like, if you lose one, don't cry about it. It's fine.
I cried
you
a
lost
lot.
a human. Oh well, there'll be another one along soon.
True. I'm not sure what to score it though.
Okay.
But I'll go.
Did you not get the email where we tell you what you have to do?
I mean, to be fair,
You didn't actually know.
we have actually. I've scored it already on the.
we have reviewed it, so
Yeah.
What did you guys score it?
can't tell you that, but you better be in line with us.
I reckon it's probably about between a 6 and an 8. Probably.
That'll
Yeah,
do.
it's similar to us. Yeah.
Similar to us, I haven't been playing anything this week
What?
apart from their game,
Hey!
which we reviewed last week. But I do have a question for you about
Yes.
games.
What's that?
You mentioned on Twitter this week
I didn't see that.
that
I think
your
it's pronounced Twitter.
that your son had been playing Skyrim in Minecraft.
Yes.
Can you tell me about
Yes.
that?
So Dexter loves Minecraft, and that's all he does, and I'm very happy for him to play it. But he'll play it on the Xbox 360, which has just become a Minecraft machine. And if he's not doing that, he'll play it on the phone or Android, what have you. But he did very well in his school play, so we gave him some in-game currency, and he wanted the Avengers. The Avengers skin pack, so he could be the Hulk, and then you can also buy a texture pack, and you can buy Skyrim in Minecraft, and it turns everything into Skyrim. Like the music is Skyrim, the blocks become sort of grey and dusty with snow. We didn't see any blocky dragons. I mean, I don't know whether they're in it. I really hope that they are. But yeah, so it's the same game. You mine and combine and dig and all of that sort of stuff. But it has different items in it, and yeah, all the rest of it. And it was
Are there quests?
no, and so it's as free forming as
Okay.
Minecraft. But it was amazing just watching him appreciate exactly the same game but with different, and he was, he couldn't believe it. He was discovering new things and seeing new scenes and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, he was still finding animals to put in places where animals should not be, which is the thing he likes
core
to
of
do. Yeah,
Minecraft.
exactly. But no, it's amazing. There are 3 or 4 other texture packs. I'm not sure if they're available on any other formats, but yeah, check them out.
Sounds brilliant. I'll give it 7 out of 10.
Chapter 47, Trevor. When you're my age and you're offered an opportunity to star in a blockbuster game, you don't turn it down. So when the call came from Rockstar that they were interested in me for a part in the next Grand Theft Auto, I did what any sensible working actor would do when offered a guaranteed smash hit. and told my agent to negotiate me a higher fee. This was to be my undoing. After 2 weeks of talks, it was agreed that I be paid a cool £1,000 per minute, with my cut dependent on the length of time I appeared on screen in a game that could last for dozens of hours. I was to play the part of Trevor, an older Canadian gentleman who was the voice of reason in the gang. He was an experienced crook, with the ability to plan and execute a heist without anyone knowing it had happened. It was a subtle role, lots of eyebrow acting and silent pauses, and best of all, the part took advantage of my famed ability to play the romantic lead, even in my advancing years. At least that's the script they sent me. But when I turned up on set, they got me into costume as some sort of backwater hick. "Oh, didn't you get the script rewrites?" the director, who can't have been more than 15, asked. "We've changed Trevor a bit to appeal to the gaming demographic." Well, an actor's lot is to adapt. But back in my trailer, I reread the script and noticed that an awful lot of violent action scenes had been added. This wouldn't do. Brandishing the script, I went back to the director/work experience boy and reminded him that my contract stipulated that I didn't do any of my own stunts. "No problem," he said. So I ended up spending much of the shoot hanging around in costume waiting for my stunt double to do the dangerous stuff. And the net result? One scene in which the back of my head appears for 26 seconds, netting me a total of £433 for 6 months' work. And what's more insulting, my stunt double ended up getting all of the awards for his supposed acting. But the scene where you see the back of my head? Masterful. It was described by Eurogamer as worryingly misogynistic. You don't get that sort of praise in theatre.
Super Roger World there. We're One Life Left. We're a radio show about video games, and we're nearly at the end of the show. And it's kind of our last show for 2 weeks, in a sense.
It is, isn't it? Because next week we are, like all the shows on Resonance next week, we are going to take part in the fundraiser.
We're going to do something special in the show that is our own hour-long show. And then we're going to take part in a bit of a Monday night telethon where we're going to be mashing up our show with some other shows on the Monday.
Do we have to get dressed up? And should you wear like suits and I'll wear like a cocktail dress? And
you should wear a cocktail dress. Definitely wear a cocktail dress.
And it'll be like the TV fundraisers where all the celebrities are sitting there and waiting for your call.
Work well on radio, won't it?
It'll work really well. You can tell when I'm wearing a cocktail dress.
We're not exactly sure what we're going to do in the hour-long One Life Left appeal for your cash next week, but you can rest assured.
I got a text about Proteus.
It'll be excellent. What did the text say?
Just saying he's going to send me a copy on Vita tomorrow. Jason is. Oh, we'll have to be nice about it. Sorry, go on.
We are nice about it. The show's opinion is we like Proteus. Your opinion.
Yeah. Next week we're going to be doing the fundraiser. It's going to be a good show, different type of show, and we're also going to announce how we, One Life Left, are going to raise money ourselves for the station. The station exists off a mixture of grant and donations. It's hugely important that we do our bit. So if you listen to the show and if we entertain you in any small way, I'll be really grateful for your support next week and on a date in April. Which will be revealing next week. Yeah, currently.
Yeah. So it's been a good show, I think.
Yes.
I've enjoyed it.
John and Simon, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. How have you found it?
It's been a delight.
And also, it's the first time you've listened to the show, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's weird being here at the same time.
Yeah.
Surely that means Anne doesn't tweet about it now.
We run it all the time.
That's right. So we can find Olli Olli on PSN now.
Yes.
Go out and buy it. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got One Life Left.
We have. We're finishing the show 10 seconds earlier.
Are we? Was it 10 seconds? I thought it was less than that.
We should really finish when that hand ticks around to about 4. It's in 3 seconds.
Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Bye.